We're kicking off today with Ryback, and since exiting WWE in 2016, he's made clear that he's no fan of the promotion or its management, especially the Chief Content Officer, Triple H. Speaking on his Ryback show this past week, the former wrestler ranted about WWE and his time with the company, and made a serious, unconfirmed allegation about Triple H. Ryback claimed that sources have told him that Triple H had been unfaithful to his wife Stephanie and had an affair with Caitlyn in what would be a clear abuse of power. This tryst is said to have happened before she left WWE a decade ago, and Ryback speculated that an NDA was filed to keep Caitlyn from spilling the beans. He said, "I have it on close accord from people that came and told me with things that were directly involved, then she leaves the company almost immediately after. Do you think that's a fucking coincidence?" Ryback stated that whatever people do with their lives is their own business, but added that Triple H was abusing power by having this alleged affair with an employee and using an NDA. It certainly does not paint WWE in a positive light, especially after the NDA scandal with Vince McMahon, which has given critics of WWE ample ammunition over the past few years. Caitlyn joined WWE in 2010 as a contestant on the third season of NXT, where she captured fans' attention, and she'd go on to win the entire series, earning a contract with WWE. Over the next 4 years, Caitlyn emerged as a top woman in WWE and held the Divas title for 153 days in 2013, before leaving and retiring from action for the most part in 2014. Caitlyn has said that she asked for her release in a bit of a last-minute decision to leave after a rough travel day to an episode of Raw she wasn't booked to be on. The former Divas champion had been considering retiring for some time and left to dedicate her full-time to outside projects as well as planning her first wedding. In 2018 and 2019, though, Caitlyn made appearances including the Mae Young Classic, though it now appears she's left WWE in the rearview mirror. As we said, Ryback is no fan of WWE management and had a lengthy court battle with the company for years over the use of his name. With that said, Ryback's claims of a tryst are just that, claims, and so far, nobody has provided hard evidence that anything happened between Triple H and Caitlyn. We'll have to see if Triple H or Caitlyn come forward with their side of the story regarding this claim, but it wouldn't be a surprise if they don't comment and call more attention to things. On SmackDown, a tornado tag team match between Naomi, Bayley, Nia Jax, and Tiffany Stratton ended in controversy, as both Bayley and Naomi got the pin on Jax. Not only that, but Naomi's feet were under the ropes while Nia's were on them, and while this may have seemed like an egregious botch, that isn't the case. Tornado tag team matches don't include rope breaks, meaning Naomi's pin was legal, and the referee was looking right at Naomi when this happened, proving it was within the rules. Bayley was also looking at her partner during the double pinfall and did nothing to stop her, despite both women breaking up each other's pin attempts earlier in the match. The stipulation of the match was that whichever face got the decisive fall, they'd face Nia Jax for the women's title at Bad Blood, hence why Bayley and Naomi broke each other's falls. With that said, for Bayley to have broken up Naomi's pin on Jax, she would have had to end her own pinfall on the Queen of the Ring, and now Bayley will face Naomi this Friday. The winner of that match will face Jax at Bad Blood, and while the pair have been close friends for a while, this match could lead to a heel turn since both stars want a shot at the gold. Bayley lost the women's title to Jax at SummerSlam and has been hungry for a rematch ever since, while Naomi is wanting to pursue title gold after returning to WWE in January. It'll be interesting to see if a heel turn happens this week, especially since Naomi has been teaming with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, the two top face women on SmackDown. But what do you think? Will Bayley or Naomi turn heel in their quest to earn a title shot against Nia Jax? Let us know in the comments below. Since arriving in WWE, the Wyatt Six have used cryptic messages to tease things to come, and ahead of tonight's Raw in Ontario, California, another tease has surfaced. On the group's official Twitter account, the Wyatt Six shared an image of all 5 members in the background, overlaid by the repeated message, "My life for you." This message seemingly points to Bray Wyatt, but in the bottom center of the image, there is the message Psalm 50:15, which in the Bible has the following message. "And call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me." There's many ways to interpret this, but it's possible that the Wyatt Six is calling upon a new member, something that has been teased on the group's Cryptic website as of late. One entry on the site includes talk of brothers, which as we previously reported, some believe is pointing to Braun Strowman, a Wyatt family alum, being brought into the group. Some have even said that it could be a way to introduce Curtis Axel into the fold, as he has a history with Bo Dallas, the alter ego of Uncle Howdy. While Axel was released from WWE in 2020, he was rehired as a producer in 2022, and though he has since left WWE again, it goes to show that WWE isn't opposed to bringing him back. The talk of glorifying could be a sign that Uncle Howdy wishes to be glorified with championship gold, which could happen given his number of followers. On the Cryptic website of Uncle Howdy, there is a new diary entry named Karis, which has the following message: "Swallowed by darkness, drowned in apathy, the malevolence of surrender overshadowing Elan Vital. I cried out and you heard my voice, found purpose in your counsel, pulled me from the lowest hell, my life for you." This entry again continues on the theme of someone outside the Wyatt Six being involved, leaving fans to speculate and wonder who this could be. With the group's feud with American Made seemingly up, we'll have to see what's next, and what do you think this message means? Is Curtis Axel being brought back to WWE? Sound off below. At All In, Britt Baker lost in her TBS title match against Mercedes Moné, and the DMD and former AEW Women's World Champion has been absent from TV ever since. Now fans wondering where she's been won't have to wonder anymore, as it's been confirmed that Baker will be part of the 5th anniversary of AEW Dynamite on October 2nd. Baker's return was confirmed during last week's AEW Collision, with a vignette airing to hype up her big comeback, as Tony Schiavone announced she'll be in action. Baker's opponent hasn't been confirmed, but fans can expect a huge response for Britt, given that the show will take place in her hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It remains to be seen what will come of Britt on AEW TV, though she may have unfinished business with Mercedes Moné after her defeat at All In. Hopefully we get an idea as to what Baker's future in AEW looks like at Dynamite's 5th anniversary, as fans are eager to see what's to come for the DMD. Now, Seth Rollins and football have a complicated, thorny relationship, with the visionary often tweeting his love or hate for the game based on how the Chicago Bears are doing. Last night, Rollins' loathing of the game grew as the Bears lost to the Indianapolis Colts, and he also suffered a modicum of on-field humiliation at the game. Rollins was knocked onto the field by former Colts wide receiver Ty Hilton, and the infuriated Seth was then ejected from the field to the delight of the Colts-friendly crowd. While this week's Raw will be in California, next week's show will be in Indiana, meaning that there could be more between Rollins and the former Colt. WWE has done numerous crossovers with other sports, including Indiana Pacers' Tyrese Halliburton, who was a part of the latest edition of WWE NXT. That show saw Halliburton oversee the contract signing between NXT champion Ethan Page and Trick Williams ahead of their October 1st NXT title match in Chicago, Illinois. As for Rollins, he's been missing from WWE TV since being laid out by Bronson Reed in August, and this incident on the field caught the attention of the Australian. On Twitter, warned him to stay away from my ring, and expect these two to come to blows over more than football when Seth is back on WWE TV. More football news as the San Francisco 49ers took on the LA Rams last night, and the game saw the reunion of a former WWE faction. At the game in SoFi Stadium, Mercedes Moné watched alongside Naomi and Tamina Snuka in a reunion of the Team Bad trio that appeared on WWE TV in 2015 and 2016. The trio were also joined by AEW's Layla Gray and WWE's Bayley, and while discourse about WWE and AEW may be toxic among fans online, these five had a great time at the game. In recent weeks, Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum, collectively known as the Outrunners, have taken wrestling by storm, with fans loving the nostalgic 80s-inspired duo. With retro vignettes and enthusiastic live show reactions, the duo has garnered significant attention in AEW, and fans can expect to see much more of them in the company. According to sources via Fightful Select, AEW has been thrilled with the reception they've received, and it seems a push for the team is expected to continue. Despite this popularity, the pair are yet to receive the coveted All Elite graphic to confirm they've signed with AEW, but they've been working with AEW and ROH regularly for over a year. Sources within AEW have confirmed that the duo is under contract, but details such as the length of their deals or when it was signed remains a mystery. When asked directly about their AEW status, the Outrunners gave a playful response stating, "I can neither confirm nor deny that we are old enough or too young to sign or not sign." As their momentum continues to build, fans can expect to see more from the Outrunners in AEW, but what have you made of their rise? Are they future tag team champions? Let us know below. With the Bloodline storyline continuing to dominate WWE TV, Rikishi has had plenty to say as of late about the faction and the use of his sons Jimmy and Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa. Recently, Rikishi shared his thoughts on his nephew Jacob Fatu, who many are seeing as a potential challenger to Cody Rhodes' undisputed WWE Championship. On his Off the Top podcast, Rikishi shared his concern that Fatu is being pushed too fast and had ideas as to how WWE could more effectively build him up as a potential contender. He said, "I think Jacob is being pushed too fast. When you go to Cody, where do you go from there? Cody is the guy right now. I've said this before. Let Jacob rampage through the whole roster. Give him a couple of those enhancement matches to build. He don't need but 3 minutes. Again, we've seen Jacob however long he's been on, a couple months or whatever, but is there anything different? You can only do so much on a run-in. This is what I'm saying. You really want to go with a guy? Show his talent. Let him have not a match, but a squash match, just so he can show his potential of what else this kid can do. I wouldn't feed Jacob to Cody. That match is not deserving to happen." Rhodes has proven willing to take on all comers and recently offered a match to Fatu, who declined out of a sense of loyalty to his tribal chief, Solo Sikoa. Nevertheless, it remains to be seen whether Jacob Fatu will continue to be a dominant force on WWE television, as that seems to be the case right now, ahead of Bad Blood. What's your opinion on what Rikishi had to say? Do you believe WWE is pushing Jacob Fatu too fast? Sound off in the comments section below. The last time Tamina wrestled for WWE, it was back in March of 2023 when she lost to Mi Chin on Main Event, and fans have been wondering what's going on with the multi-generational star. Not too long ago, there were rumors about Tamina joining the Bloodline as she has ties to the Anoa'i family, but fans shouldn't expect that to happen. Fightful Select reports that Tamina is largely done with WWE on a day-to-day basis and is no longer on the road with WWE, making her integration into the Bloodline highly unlikely. Nia Jax is another name fans have rumored for the group, but Fightful adds that sources have said that she's never been pitched to join the Bloodline. Since launching in 2020, the Bloodline has yet to introduce a female member, and while there are options, don't expect the faction's dominance to expand to WWE's women's division. Vince McMahon's forthcoming Netflix docuseries, Mr. McMahon, is set to offer an in-depth examination of the former WWE chairman's life, career, and controversies. Premiering on September 25th, this 6-part series is generating buzz for its promise to explore both McMahon's achievements and the various scandals he has faced. According to Post Wrestling, the series begins by covering recent events such as McMahon's resignation, subsequent return, WWE's merger with UFC to create TKO, and the lawsuit filed by Janelle Grant. The final episode will feature Wall Street Journal reporters Joe Palazzolo and Ted Mann revisiting allegations of McMahon's conduct. The docuseries then proceeds chronologically, starting with McMahon's childhood, his early ventures into wrestling, and his acquisition of the WWE from his father. It will highlight significant moments like the rise of Hulk Hogan and the inception of WrestleMania, while also addressing WWE's challenges in the early 1990s. A notable segment will cover the 1992 scandals, including the steroid trial and allegations involving former ring boys. Phil Mushnick from the New York Post and archival footage of Tom Cole, who accused WWE of abuse, will provide new perspectives on these issues. The series will also address the 1986 accusations from Rita Chatterton, featuring a new interview with Tony Atlas that touches on inappropriate behavior by Pat Patterson and McMahon's alleged indifference. The final episode will focus on the lawsuit from Janelle Grant, with interviews from Wall Street Journal reporter Khadijah Safdar and commentary from Bruce Pritchard and wrestling journalist Dave Meltzer. At a recent press conference for Bash in Berlin, Cody Rhodes discussed the documentary and the locker room stance, indicating that while they aren't remaining silent, their focus is on the company's current direction and future. However, not everyone within WWE shares this viewpoint. Brian Alvarez reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that some employees are upset by the allegations against McMahon. "I don't think at this point anyone should care about the life and times of Vince McMahon above the legal situation he's in," said a WWE talent of over a decade, reflecting a growing sentiment within the company. In fact, according to over a dozen WWE employees, ranging from talent to executives, the feeling was unanimous. They're ready to distance themselves from McMahon. However, it's unclear if those not directly spoken to share the same views. Vince McMahon is reportedly worth $2.5 billion and has a team of heavyweight attorneys at his disposal. Janelle Grant's lawsuit has certainly kept them occupied, but it seems she may not be the only one with a story to tell. During a press conference on September 19th, Janelle Grant's attorney Ann Callis mentioned receiving an influx of calls from other alleged victims. However, Callis clarified that they have not been in contact with any current victims. When asked if other victims had come forward since the lawsuit came to light, Callis mentioned that some women did in the beginning, but things changed due to the current situation. However, the attorney added she and her team believe that possible non-disclosure agreements, or NDA, could be preventing other potential victims from speaking up. Ann Callis clarified that she hasn't watched the Netflix documentary, but expressed hope that it will accurately portray Grant's story, though she was not personally involved in its production. Janelle Grant's attorney declined to comment on whether her client was invited to participate in the McMahon documentary, but emphasized that Grant has the right to share her story in her own time. She also mentioned that Grant received some initial brief outreach from WWE after the lawsuit was filed, but nothing further since then. Lee Cole asked how Janelle would respond to those questioning why she returned to Vince. Callis explained that Janelle was coerced, human trafficked, and felt like she had no choice, adding that WWE employees treated her with hostility. Callis concluded that her client had allegedly survived incomprehensible abuse. She further touched upon the trauma suffered by her client, who was suffering from mental health conditions and was sometimes unable to leave home for weeks at a time. One confirmed detail is that Vince McMahon will not have control over the documentary's final cut, ensuring an unfiltered portrayal of his life. With various notable figures contributing their perspectives, fans are left wondering whether the series will enhance McMahon's legacy or cast him in a negative light due to the controversies. On Conan's Keeping It 100 podcast, Conrad Thompson suggested the documentary might be more of a burial of McMahon than a balanced portrayal. Conan noted that Simmons' involvement suggests a candid approach, while Disco Inferno expressed discomfort with how the dirt sheet community often targets figures like McMahon or Hulk Hogan, despite their contributions to the industry. Thompson also discussed reconciling his views on McMahon, akin to how he addressed his feelings about Chris Benoit, emphasizing the importance of separating personal actions from professional accomplishments. As for the trailer, WWE sources believe the line where McMahon claims he's not a bad guy is a deliberate attempt to stir conversation around the upcoming series, sparking more curiosity and controversy. WWE has not yet issued any official comment on the trailer or the docuseries itself. Many believe that McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE are seeking to have the lawsuit dismissed and settled through arbitration pending a judge's decision. Is there a possibility? Many wrestling pundits believe it is, but what are your thoughts on the issues covered in Vince McMahon's documentary? Will the series reveal the true Vince McMahon, or will it hold back on certain details? Share your opinions in the comments below. And what do you think about Pat Patterson's involvement in the upcoming docuseries? Let us know your views in the comments section. At Bad Blood, Cody Rhodes will form an unlikely alliance with Roman Reigns to take on the Bloodline, and Reigns will have quite the entrance in his hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. The University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff have confirmed that they'll be performing Rhodes' entrance theme on October 5th, ahead of his teaming with the OTC. WWE typically reserves live music entrances for top names like Triple H, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, and Rhea Ripley, and now Rhodes will join an elite group next month at Bad Blood. On June 8th, Rich Swann was arrested in Altamonte Springs, Florida for disorderly public intoxication and causing a disturbance, both of which are misdemeanor charges. Swann was seen trying to force his way into an apartment, possibly thinking it was his own, but after the resident felt threatened and confronted Swann with a gun, he backed away and left. It was later confirmed that Swann had entered a nolo contendere plea, which means he neither admits nor denies the charges, but chooses to plead guilty or not guilty. In an update from Mike Johnson of PW Insider, Swann is working on his sobriety and has shaved his head for a fresh new look, but there's no word on when he'll return to TNA. TNA suspended Swann following the incident, and it seems he won't return anytime soon, but him working on his sobriety is a positive step in the right direction. What's your opinion on Rich Swann's current status with TNA Wrestling? Do you believe he'll return to the company this year? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. The last time fans saw Anna Jay compete in an AEW ring, it was back on the June 26th Dynamite, and her last victory on AEW TV was all the way back in January of this year. Since that match in June, Jay has been competing in Stardom's 5-Star Grand Prix, where she finished with a respectable 3-3 record, and she's now made a return to AEW. Last Saturday, AEW taped its Rampage episode that'll air on September 27th, and Jay made her comeback, scoring a win over Robin Renegade at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts. It remains to be seen how Jay will fit into AEW now that she's back in the ring with the company, but fans are excited for her future as an all-elite talent. During a recent edition of NXT Level Up, Kendall Gray took on Tyra Mae Steele, and while you may not have heard Steele's name before, she is Olympic gold medalist Tamara Mensah Stock. The match was taped on September 10th and saw Gray get the win, but both women have been earning high praise for their work in the ring, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. The two women garnered significant praise from officials after the match, and like Steele, Gray comes from an amateur background and is a multi-time college wrestling champion. It appears that Steele is already outshining Gable Steveson, as her fellow Olympic champion did not show enough progress in WWE and was cut from the company earlier this year. As for Steele, her future remains bright, and with her and Gray shining on NXT Level Up, it may not be long before either woman receive a push on WWE NXT. This December, WWE will air its first Saturday night's main event show in 16 years, and while there's still months to go before the show, tickets are quickly selling out. Since tickets went on sale last Friday, 7,254 tickets have already been distributed for the event, leaving 824 seats remaining for the show at Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York. Ironically, the last time WWE hosted an event in the venue, it was a Saturday night's main event themed house show in September 2023, which drew an impressive 7,832 fans. No matches have been confirmed for the December show, though names on the poster include Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, suggesting Rollins will be back by December. And we're ending with Mick Foley, who pops up on WWE from time to time, much to the delight of the fans, and now the hardcore legend has signed a new Legends deal. This was reported by Fightful Select, and with this deal, fans can expect plenty of merchandise and more featuring Foley in the years to come.